It is another episode of the Change of Plans podcast. I am Joe Aguirre. He is Vinnie Provenzano. And Vin, you're a little fired up, man. You got here you're kind of in a mean mood a little bit.
I wouldn't say mean, just a bit aggressive. It's been a week. Joe.
People have been getting on your nerves,
dude. That's I'm really gonna try not to swear this episode. That's gonna be my goal. But
well, funny.
Yeah,
I saw some comments on the last episode.
Yeah, that'd be my cousin Louise. Shout out to Louise.
Louise likes the show, but she doesn't like all the cursing.
It's the potty mouth, which is shocking given my cousin Louise's last name. It's I think it comes with being a Provenzano is my potty mouth, but it might be more my mom's side too. I don't know, but I'm gonna try to tone it down. So it's a family-friendly show.
Yeah, that's nice. You want the cousins, the nieces, and the nephews. You want everyone to be able to enjoy the show. So last week, your beautiful wife was on.
Yeah.
And again, great feedback on,
of course,
on Claudia and how amazing she was.
I know, it's annoying. I was really I was like scouring the internet for negative comments on her. Nothing. As usual, once again. That's why I kept her home today. I wasn't going to have it. I wasn't having it.
Have you thought about starting a hate fan page or something like that? Anonymously, so no one can tie it back to you.
It's kind of too late now, Joe. You just brought it up. Yeah. I was just actually trying to do that while I was on this show. It was a great idea, but I'm going to shut it down now. No, it was good to have her on. We're going to definitely have her on again. She was teaching her class tonight. So she has like a fitness studio. So Thrive Fitness. So if anyone's looking to do some yoga, some spinning, some strength training, some health and wellness coaching. That's why my wife is so beautiful. I clearly don't take her classes.
You're a life coach. She's a fitness coach. And
I
we
think
can
she's
tell.
winning. Yeah, but what a douche. That's not a swear word, right? I could say douche on Facebook.
You could say that. Yeah, of
YouTube.
course. I think even Louise is all right with that.
So it's been a week, man. It's been crazy. I'm trying not to complain. I know you heard about the trooper, Aaron, which is I knew Aaron Pelletier before he was a trooper.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so he used to work out like CBS. I used to work out with him, and that kid just loved being a trooper, man. Like that was he'd be at the gym and I would just be ragging on him because that's all he would talk about. He just wanted to do his job, that's been crazy. You can't take this life for granted. And it hit home, it kind of tails on the conversation we had last week, how I react to people passing away and things. And we had talked about that, but I haven't talked to him in a while, but it hit home with that one, So it was great how the community reacted. I just feel bad for his wife, kids, and family. But when I say this kid loved his job, he did. He was born for it. So thoughts with him, and his family. But it was crazy. So it kind of brings it back down to earth a little bit. So no matter how bad of a week I was having, it's nothing compared to what other people are going through. But I just wanted to say that piece. I don't want to make it about the whole episode, but it's eye-opening. It really is. And this, we don't have finite time. And I think his wife said it best is that, you got to take time off for your family, like no matter the overtime and with the opportunity out there, you really got to sit back and, treasure the moments because you never know when your time is up,
Well, and I think a big part of success is having someone to share it with. And, I not to dwell on Officer Pelletier, but I've seen a whole bunch of pictures of him and his kids. Yeah. His wife's gorgeous. Very good looking couple. Yeah. They seem like they were living a pretty ideal life.
Yeah.
And, for all the success and all the things that are going well, you're right. I mean, you don't want to live with regret. You want to make sure, while you're doing what you're doing, that you cut out the time to,
1,000%.
Especially to share in the successes that you're having with the people around you. And then, of course, the money that you get for the success in what you're doing affords you chances to go on vacations, or
it affords you that time, though. That's
of making really, so right here's, I don't know how you feel. Are you a gift guy? Do you like gifts?
Oh, so
because my wife and I, we don't do gifts. We don't just be like, hey, I got you this. We buy each other experiences, concerts, shows, it's things like that, things that we can, like, it'll be a story at a party next year that we'll be telling.
Yeah, so it's funny. I don't like receiving gifts. Like, I'm not I don't.
You're a Santa Claus, so you like to give them.
I do.
Why?
I do. I don't know. I think for me, it's, and I'm big. I think one thing I've learned with my wife, the experiences as the gift, right? Like the vacations or a trip. But I like the random gifts. That's my favorite thing to do. Like, I like going shopping for my wife. I mean, my wife's beautiful. So like, and she never buys anything really for herself. Like, I think that's where it comes in.
Most women don't.
Yeah. So I
at least after 30.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing. It's just like, I have the ability to do it, but I just know, like, oh, my wife's gonna look good in this. Oh, I know she would really like that. It's not a big.
Are we talking outfits or like?
Oh, dude, I go
the naughties and stuff.
No, outfits, dude. No, yeah.
That's very nice of you.
I do. I like shopping. I'm a big shopper. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a very big shopper, but I'm thoughtful gifts. It's not like, hey, I'm just gonna go get her a necklace to have a necklace or anything like that. But she is very much experience first, stuff second.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, having a 17-year-old where I didn't have kids. Goddamn cats around here. I hate cats, Joe. Look at that.
I don't like. Look at. I mean, really.
You just blocked me out. You just KO'd me out of my own show. Goddamn cat. So
this is Garfield, by the way. He's nice.
But yeah, so gift giving wise, I like to give gifts. I don't really need anything in life. I think my wife will tell you I'm a hard person to shop for. There's not much I really need.
Shoes. I think shoes is the answer.
She's not buying the shoes I get, Joe. They're the price point on the sneakers that I'm getting is a bit aggressive. I didn't pick my new pair up today, but I got some Travis Scott lows, the lemons.
By the way,
yeah. Oh no. This is gonna be back. So now my shirt's gonna be full of
you're a dog guy. You do a lot of the animal rescue stuff.
Speaking of that, I am flying to Virginia on Saturday morning and then driving back with, I think, 6 to 8 dogs. So shout out to anyone who needs a dog. I have dogs coming in hot on Saturday night.
And I see you do social media stuff for it.
Yeah,
so people if people are interested. I mean, really, with the cat, like,
this is aggressive, and this is why I don't like cats, because
I really
they do they want, and we don't rescue cats. So all you cat lovers out there, leave it in the comments.
You don't have to rescue cats.
And you just find them.
Cats are just better off on their own anyway.
Yeah. So, but yes, I work with Positive Rescue. That's our nonprofit. So we do a lot of dog rescue, dog training stuff. There was a vet that was shutting down in Nashville on like Saturday, euthanizing 12 dogs on Sunday type of deal. So we went and grabbed 8. And so
what happened to the other 4?
They didn't make it. But it's the tough part with a dog rescue. You can't save every dog, and you got to save the dogs that you think can be successful in a home. And some of them are going that need to be rescued are sick and not going to be able to recover. They're too old or they're too aggressive. And as much as I love dogs, I'm not going to put a family in a situation where they have an aggressive dog, right? And things like that. So those are the tough decisions you have to make. I mean, it's cool, the idea of rescuing dogs, but there's also pitfalls. The dogs get sick, the cost of the rescues. Sometimes you have to make those tough decisions. So
also, as a lawyer too, that's a good thing, because you understand what liability looks like.
Yeah. It's funny. I really don't think about my lawyer hat unless I'm like in my suit. It's like a superpower. And then when I take it off, I'm just an adolescent.
Is that like a reverse Clark Kent? You get nerdy to do your superpower.
Yes, it's the role reversal. So
yeah, because usually you go from looking like a nerd to being buff. You go from being buff to get nerded out.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever looked buff, but I mean, I'll take the compliment. So, but that's usually how it goes. So, doing the dog thing, we're very careful on who we place the dogs with. Once again, for liability reasons, but just to line it up for success. But yes, if it was up to me, I'd have 8 million dogs and never talk to another human being.
I got a dog a year ago.
Yeah,
and Woody, it's been said recently, I've heard that people who become dog people later in life are better than dog people who have been dog people their whole lives. What do you say about that? I think it's true.
I think you appreciate it more, the companionship of it.
I let my dog eat off my fork.
That's aggressive, dude. Like
he loves it.
Yeah, of course he does. He doesn't like eating off the fork. He likes whatever's on the fork, bro.
Yeah.
My lab is the same. My lab would eat you if you were covered in peanut butter, right to the bones. Like, he's a disgusting dog. I love him, but he just eats everything. But spoil the dogs, yes. I mean, as long as it doesn't affect like the rest of it. Like, I don't want to be at your house and your dog's eating off my fork. I'm not. I will tell you. My wife will tell you. I am not. My dogs don't have fun unless I say they could have fun. So I'm kind of Stalin in my house with my dogs. I'm fairly aggressive in my training.
Are you supposed to do that?
Do what?
Control their happiness?
Yeah, 100%. Because these dogs don't understand our world. They have no idea what's going on. So they look for me for direction, and that's how it should be. They have no idea. It's like having a kid. Like, you got a toddler. They don't know what's right or wrong or what's going on. So they look to you. It's the same thing with the dog.
You don't think dogs learn it all?
Oh, they do. But it's they don't understand. They just learn to do something so that they get a reward. They don't understand why they're doing it. They're just know, hey, if he does this, I make my owner happy or I get a treat.
You don't think they just do stuff for fun like in the movies?
No Milo and Otis. There's no Turner and Hooch.
No.
None of that stuff. No. I think maybe dolphins do that shit. Did you know that about dolphins?
I do. You know who else does?
They have conversations underwater, and then they determine what tricks they're going to do out of the ocean.
They've been observing killer whales.
Yeah.
Going and flipping seals up into the air.
Yeah.
And then not even eating them. They just kind of keep going. And as they've been doing the study, they're just messing around, just having fun.
Yeah.
Hey, look, seal.
Poor seal.
Seals get it real bad.
Yeah, they're I don't know what they do all day other than swim around.
They swim around trying to avoid polar bears and killer whales. Like the two most like ferocious predators on the planet.
Yep.
And that's who they are dealing with on a daily basis.
I don't know
if they're outside the water, it's the polar bears. If it's in the water, it's the orcas.
This podcast is going off the rails again.
Yeah, this is good stuff, though. This is the kind of stuff people need to know about.
We've hit a wide range in about 10 minutes of stuff. But I don't think anyone's scared of polar bears anymore, by the way. Like, I think there's like 4 left on the planet.
Well,
I'm not scared of
I'll tell you right now, if there was only 4 left on the planet and they got near us, you'd be all over. You ever see what a polar bear does?
No,
they're relentless, dude. They don't stop. They go after something until they eat it. It's fascinating.
Well, you have to. You live in like Antarctica. There's barely anything over there, so you better go get it.
I saw one trying to eat a big fat walrus, and he couldn't like penetrate the skin. Sad.
This is the weirdest podcast I've ever had.
You're the one that brought.
What do you guys think?
You're the one that brought up bears. That wasn't me.
I don't know if I brought up bears, but we'll get back on topic.
So, yeah, well, things seem like they're going pretty well for you.
I have first world complaints, but this week was a tough one. This week was it tried my patience like big time this week. I have one of those jobs that just, I do a lot of divorce work, And what I don't understand about people getting divorced is it's already a bad enough situation and you're just making it worse on purpose.
Yeah, well, because you hate the other person.
I think it's a combination of hate and you're just not comfortable with like yourself and your own situation, right? Like you're not good with you, so you just want to make the other person miserable.
Yes.
Like so I like, for example, this week I represent someone, really good father, just wants to see the kid. Mom is a little bit, she's got some issues going on, but just trying to jam them up every way, which I can't stand. Going through the criminal court with some bullshit charge. That doesn't work. You go through a restraining order, it's a bullshit charge. And it's just incessant. And I speak to the other attorney and he just laughs. He's like, well, we'll just have a hearing on it. We'll both make a ton of money and we'll be good and we could go home. Like that was the attitude of the attorney, which is just crazy to me. Like it just, as much as, fine, kudos, go make your money. But when the underlying driver is your attorney trying to hit you at $700 an hour, like that's a problem with my practice. That's why I do flat fees up until trial. I'm probably one of 3 attorneys in the state that does the flat fees up until trial. For that reason, it gives my client insurance. I'm not here to make 15, 20, 30, 40 grand off of your divorce. And it's transparent and you don't have to worry about the other side doing that. Because if they're spending the money and I'm billing per hour, now you have to spend it for no other reason than this person being an asshole. And it drives me crazy. So that's been my week in a nutshell. I think that's why I'm frustrated, is that it's like a hamster on a wheel. Like you go nowhere with these cases. And that's kind of why I got into the coaching, was like, listen, I could help people above and beyond just getting through the divorce, but it's getting more difficult just to get people through that divorce process. Never mind to the other side of the fence where you're going to try to go enjoy life in a new environment, in a new situation. And it's frustrating, man. It's really frustrating, but I think it also, for me, if I turn the perspective of like how good I have it at my home with my marriage and the work you put into it, that's kind of what keeps my sanity when I get home, is just enjoying that and taking the time out. Because I don't think I did that in my first marriage. I just took it home with me. Like it was like I just wore it like a backpack, put it in my house, and I wore everyone else's problems instead of just taking a deep breath and saying, hey, you know what, appreciate what I have, work on what we need to work on yourself, have a separate life, but also have that joint life as well, and find that balance between the two. But you find these, you have conversations with your client and they're like, well, he did this, he did that. Well, why did he do that? Right? Like taking the ownership of some of the things you brought to the table, it helps you later on and throughout the process, be like, okay, maybe what he did or she did wasn't right, but this is what I had brought to the table. And if you have that perspective, then maybe it tones down a little bit, especially when you have kids. Right? Like it's a lifelong sentence together, right? Everyone just shoots for I had a phone call today, last child support payment was made and dad's out. Like that's not the way this works. Like it's 18, fine, child support's done, but they're going to get married. They're going to have grandkids. 8 out of 10 times you guys are going to see a lot of each other for the rest of your life. So you have to make a choice how that interaction is going to be.
Yep.
And that's part of the frustrating process. That I don't think enough divorce attorneys have that mentality of setting their client up for success, not just financially. It's not about the numbers. It's about understanding the process and the life after the divorce. That's where I think we're lacking in my profession, is that perspective of, we're just looking at billable hours, get our retainer, get these people divorced, win at all costs, and not focus on, have a conversation about what happens after the divorce. Because no one's more qualified to do that than a divorce attorney, because we see the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
And we don't do it as a profession. And it frustrates me. I probably take it too personal. But I implore people like who are getting a divorce to think about it in that aspect, and not it's not about the win, because the only one who wins in a divorce is the attorney. It's the only person who's walking out of a courthouse winning is me. You go to trial, you spend 30 grand, I won. No matter what happens, I got paid. You lost a bunch of money because you had to pay me. You aired out a bunch of dirty laundry that everyone's going to hear. You created all these trial transcripts that if your kids get nosy, they could go pull those. They could see what mom and dad said about them or about each other, right? And then you have to live with that for the rest of your life. And I've seen it happen. I've seen kids become 18, 19, get transcripts of a trial, and then go to their mom or dad, be like, why did you say this about mom? Or why did you say this about dad? Or is this why the divorce happened? Because they found out mom or dad had an affair, right? Instead of keeping it under wraps. Now the kids are mad at mom and dad, and no one ever thinks about it. You just get an attorney on the other side, like, well, fuck it. We'll have a full day hearing. You thought the Trump trial was bad. Wait until you see this shit. And, he's going to go make a bunch of money.
It's funny. I was in New Haven court for when I got my divorce, and Children and Family Services, Deb was the lady's name.
Yep.
What an idiot this lady is.
Oh boy.
I mean, absolutely clueless human being who had a checklist of like, and really didn't know what she was talking about. And we had a bunch of mediation and stuff with her. And my ex-wife wasn't seeing the kids at all. And Deb was like, well, the girls really need to be with their mother. Why? They get nothing out of it. She's not doing anything with them. She really can't take care of them. Why? Because they're girls? What are you even talking about? And it's like, I think the worst part about getting lawyers and social services involved is they don't have any idea what's really going on. They do a little bit of an investigation. They hear a couple of accusations back and forth, and then they're going to, well, here's what we think. What?
Well, correct. And I think I will say, the default is to have both parents involved in the kid's life, right? But also there's mechanisms in place like, hey, if your ex-wife wanted to be involved with the kids, then she has to jump over the hurdles, right? Like, I tell people all the time, I got addicts, I got people who commit crimes, I got abusers, the whole nine. And it's put that path in place, right? So if, for example, if you're going through a divorce with your loser bag ex-wife, and I can say that because she terminated her parental rights, and once you do that, you're a piece of shit in my fucking book. I don't care what it is. But say that didn't happen, then it's a reunification process, right? Like if you have issues with your children and you want to be involved, then it's the family therapy. It's reunification. There are tools out there, and yes, some family relations people are better than others. I know some fantastic people, and I know some ones that aren't very good at all. And it's the same thing with attorneys. But I think our legal system is so inundated with people's problems in divorce that we don't even have the staff necessary to handle it all, right? Like the default is just go to family. These people are handling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files. And no, they're not living in your life, right? Like they don't know your everyday stuff, nor do they have the time or the mental capacity to deal with it all. But I think if a person takes some ownership on what they need to work on, it makes their job a lot easier. It makes my job a lot easier. I tell people, I don't give a shit what you did. I don't care. But if you're coming to me, I need to know all of it. I need to know what you did good, what you did bad, what you're owning up to, what you need to improve on. Because that's the only way I'm going to be able to put you in the best position possible.
What's with the constant hand motion tonight? Is that
that's when you could tell I'm a little bit aggravated.
Are you aggravated?
Yeah, so it's a lot of times in court I go like this to calm myself down. It's
you were telling us last time about that.
So like it's, and then my Italian comes out. I had one judge told me he appreciated my passion, but I kept hitting the mic with my hand because I was just like losing my mind on this lawyer. But yes, I had yesterday I was dealing with an attorney who was representing a victim. The case got nollied, by the way, because it wasn't a victim. She was an attorney in a divorce we're dealing with, tried to sandbag my client so she could get a house. All this stuff, all this crazy stuff.
Wow.
That like attorneys coach their clients, hey, trump up these criminal charges so you get exclusive possession of the property. He can't come back in the house. Now you got leverage. So I just happened to go into court. There's a victim's attorney, just happened to be the guy she's dating and living with. So I come in and just undress this guy in front of everybody. Right. This is a whole part of the legal problem. I have an attorney who's now dating his client, but not telling anyone he's dating his client until I call him out on it. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, do you not see the bigger picture? Like, this isn't a game. Like, you're really messing with a daughter-father relationship, and because you want to get leverage, which is I think you are the scum of the earth if you're using your kids and this sort of thing as leverage. So I was so worked up yesterday. I think the state attorney had to grab my arm and be like, hey, Vin, relax a little bit, because I get, I try my job as an attorney in general is really not to get emotional, right? I just have the conversation. I have a pretty big criminal case in New London, and my client's mother, she's an attorney in Massachusetts, but very worried all the time. And she's like, you're very flatline. And I'm like, because that's why you pay me. It's not my job to worry until I have to worry, right? And I really try to pride myself on, and one of the things I work on professionally is trying to stay even. But the one thing I cannot stay even on is that just using kids as a pawn. It just infuriates me to no end. So that's why I'm a bit aggravated, and can't believe you picked up on my hand movement.
It's getting louder and more consistent.
And, pretty soon I'm going to break my office will tell you, I'll be on the phone with somebody and I will just start banging on my desk. It happened today. I was just slamming my desk while I was talking to somebody. And I'm trying to be happy on the phone without breaking my hand. And then, so we had a bet today. I was supposed to talk to a particular client that usually results in like World War IV. Like I can't even help myself. And so it took me a good, I think it took about 16 and a half minutes before I could make the call, just to really go into sociopath mode where I'm just blanking out and flatlining. But it's what you have to work on, I think. And that I think that's the tough part of my job is not to get emotional. So my clients aren't getting emotional, making emotional decisions. But these are all things I know I need to work on. And I know that because of the coaching stuff and therapy I did on myself to okay, these are my triggers. This is how I'm going to do it. So when I'm going like this, it's one of my things to deal with my trigger of, all right, my mind's moving too fast, or I need to take a deep breath because I could tend to explode a little bit, and I do not have a filter. And I think that's, happens, and it's good sometimes and it's bad other times. So yeah, that's been my week in a nutshell, but that's the practice of law too. I think it takes a toll on you after a little bit, but it also allows me to do things like this and go rescue dogs and work on my coaching stuff and other avenues and spend time with my family. So as much as it's not my dream job and it has its drawbacks, I think the benefit of it far outweighs any cost.
By the way, your sister confirmed something that I thought was a thing that happens is communication via TikTok. A TikTok video where the husband is doing something stupid. Maybe he's gaslighting or he's using weaponized incompetence, and they send that to you.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. I thought that's what I was seeing.
It was. Diana
confirmed it.
Yes, she is our number one fan. She will stay that way. She loves it. She loves it. And her man Ziggy is a godsend. Let me tell you, he's the dude, man. You want to talk about someone who remains flatline? I wish I had the patience of Ziggy. He just goes with the flow, dude. Goes with the flow. He's a great guy.
It's a good way to be.
It is. It is. He's a very old school. Like I remember at the wedding, he told me in no uncertain terms, I got it from here, and just stared at me. And I'm like, yo, bro, you're good. You look like you saw some things. I'm just gonna let this be. You know, God bless my sister. Whatever happens. But I need to stay alive, so I just let.
Good luck.
But it's good. Like I'm glad. You know, because that's one thing I always worried about. I mean, she's my younger sister. So her ex-husband was a piece of shit. I hope he's watching this because he knows he's a piece of shit. You're a big piece of shit, Matt Zabor. You know, write that down. Go find him. Tag him in this video because I hated his fucking guts. And my sister deserved to be happy. And it's kind of mirrors my marriage in that, you know, neither one of us had kids. Like, we're both great people. Like, I know we would have been good parents if we had our own kids, but we didn't have the opportunity. Where it's funny now that we're both remarried and she has stepkids and she has an awesome stepdaughter, right? And it's, you know, I got like the world's greatest stepson. I tell people that all the time. So it's funny to see the parallels in that, like where we both ended up very different paths to get here. But, you know, definitely proud of her. You know, I probably don't say that enough, but now it's on video and she could just keep replaying it, so I don't have to ever fucking say it again.
I can actually make that into like a short video clip, like a Vine. Just hear it over and over again.
Yeah, but you know, so it's kind of funny how that I never really thought about it until I just said it, like how, like on the same path we are on now. It took a while to get there, but we're traveling down that same path together, which is kind of cool.
My siblings all have perfect marriages.
Lies. Lies. Nobody has a perfect marriage. That is wild. You can't. Like, it bothers me if you have a perfect marriage or this person is my soulmate. It's just wild to me. Like, that whole soulmate thing is the dumbest thing ever. Like, ever. There's not like one person in 8 billion people that's just for you.
Yeah, you never seen them old people that die like 10 minutes apart. Like, that's, come on, what's going on there? That's
They're
soulmates?
old. Like, that's what happened. Like, their partner died. All their
and then their heart
dead.
Broke and they died.
No, it's just because that was the last person that was probably alive that they can hang out with, and they died. I believe people have great marriages, right? But people who have great marriages and have stayed married for 70 years, they're going to tell you it was work. Like, you put in the work. So it's not necessarily a soulmate. It's putting and it's investing in your relationship to the point where it lasts 60 years.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, I connected with this unicorn and it just works. It clicks. I hate that too. It just clicks. Like, if your relationship clicks, you got a fucking problem. I'm telling you right now, you think it's clicking, but it's clacking somewhere else. I see it all the time. Like, listen, I lived it. I was like, I got the perfect marriage. I'm living that Crom life. Big house, white ex-wife, super successful. I thought we were happy. You know, I was clicking and she was clacking. Like, and that's because I didn't.
Too much clacking. Can't have the clacking.
There was a lot of clacking I heard, but the point is that I wasn't putting in the work, right? Like, this go around, and believe me, it's not a lot of work I need to put in with my beautiful wife, but it is. We have conversations. We put in the work. We put in the time, whether it's working on ourselves, working on each other, having our own separate lives, but then our own lives together. Like, it's all of that stuff. What do we need? What do I need out of you? This is what I need out of you. Those are the conversations that make it a great marriage. But that whole, well, I'm just going to meet the love of my life. It's going to click and I'm just going to wake up and be like, that's the one. Yeah. How long do you think that's the one is going to last? You think you're going to wake up every day and it's just like, you don't have that.
All right. When I was in high school, I had a buddy. His name was Dave, and he was kind of weird, good looking kid, but a weird guy. Once he was listening to a Snoop Dogg album, and I walked in on him dancing by himself.
Wow.
We never talked about it, Dave, but I saw you. I was friends with this group of girls.
Yep.
And they had a female Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Cute girl, a little weird.
Yep.
Quiet.
Yeah.
And I said to that girl's best friend, we should hook her and Dave up. Yeah. They are, to this day, that was like we were 16. They're still together.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That was perfect. Nailed it.
Yeah. The initial
4 kids. They got the whole.
It.
Yeah.
But if we have them on the podcast, it's not going to be like, hey, yeah, it just works. Like they put in the work. Like that's the point. Like
right.
It's my wife said that I met through a mutual friend. Kelly's like, okay, Vin's the yang, Claudia's the yang, they're going to work. And initially it does. But like if you're not putting in the work, I don't care how much you click.
No, that's fair.
You're eventually, like me and my ex-wife, we clicked. We met each other. We obviously got me, like everything was cool. But at some point, like we stopped putting in the work. Right? Like I stopped doing it, she stopped doing it, and that's where it died on the vine. She was
clacking, that's for sure.
I like that. Clicking and clacking.
Clacking all over town.
Goddamn clacking. So I think, but I think I'm a firm believer in that, man. Like the love at first sight, like cool, you're attracted to the person, but like
you better be.
But like the stats are crazy. 58% of people get divorced. On this, like if they're going around a second round, it goes up to like 63%.
I've seen that.
And then if you take into consideration the amount of people that went and had a consultation with someone like me, now you're looking at 75% of the marriages. That's insane.
People that have been married like 4, 5, 6 times. I just think to myself, what are you, a fucking idiot?
But
how many times do you have to fail at something before you're like, you know what?
No,
I'm not fucking good at this.
No, but I love it because you're not a quitter. But I think what's crazy is
you can date people.
Well, this is what I was getting to. I think this generation, you're going to see less marriages because people are like, hey, I don't need government meddling in my shit.
Yeah.
I could be committed to my partner without wearing a ring and doing, like, I think weddings are great, right? Like it's a public display of your love for the other person, right? But it is the most irresponsible thing people ever do in their life. Because it's like, hey, if there's a 60% chance you walk out and get shot, you're not leaving your house. That's right. 60%. But people, it's like 60% of the time you get married, it's going to fail. Like that is a wild percentage. It is irresponsible, if you're talking about it from a liability standpoint, to get married. But I think people love the whole display of marriage. Like for me, I love being married. There's nothing better in the entire world than calling my wife my wife. Like introducing Claudia. Me too. Like that, and it's almost caveman type shit, right? It's just like, yo, that my wife. She mine. Right? Like I love that. And I do think it shows like for me, this is my personal belief. I think it shows a level of commitment. Maybe we don't get married if she didn't have a son. I don't know. I don't think either one of us had this, like, we have to get married to be happy with each other for the rest of our lives. But I think, once again, going to, and this is the old world way of thinking, it's, hey, I'm moving into this house. Her son is there. I'm going to show that commitment not only to her, but to him. I think that's really what it was, as much as and I love calling Claudia my wife, but it was, hey, this is what you do. You commit. And her son is very much old school like that. Like we just went golfing and I'm like, dude, he's wife hunting at 17. Like, cause I will tell you, he is all in. So if he's And anything he does, if it's fishing, if it's golfing, if it's football, he is just all in.
Clacking.
If he's clacking, he's better be all in. He's all in, ladies. He is clacking. But and I'm like, listen, it's okay to just go on a date and have fun. You don't have to cannonball into shit. But he's like, that's just the way I am, you know. But I think it's going to be a very different in the generations to come. So it's going to be interesting to see. It'll probably affect my business a little bit, but it's work. And I think way too many people, they get married because that's the next step. They're like, we've been dating. Okay, it's been 5 years. What do we do now? And they're not even having conversations about what your expectation is out of this marriage, right? Like, you know, you got to have, I think, especially young couples, you got to have the conversation about what's your expectations financially? Like, what's your expectations from a physical aspect?
Do you see a lot of couples have separate bank accounts?
Yep. Yeah.
Is that more common or less? And
I think it's more.
Do the separate accounts stay together, or are they more likely to part?
No, I think that generationally, it's much more common having separate. So I think your older couples that are getting divorced, 50s, 60s, maybe late 40s, you have those joint accounts. But I think as you're getting into your mid 40s, 30s, definitely 20s, 30s, there's separate accounts, which I think is fine, because I'm a big proponent of that, because I think in order to have a successful marriage, you have to have separate lives outside yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You shouldn't have to go ask permission of your husband or your wife if you want to buy a golf set, or you want to go out with the boys, like, or you want to go out with the girls. Like, I think your spouse should promote that type of behavior, right? Like, because that's what attracted you to your spouse. Like, you know, like, it wasn't guaranteed. You're like, oh, she's going out with her friends. I like that. She has a social life.
Should you have a secret account, or should they know that you have an account?
No, you gotta be open and honest. Nice, Joe. I saw that look. I know your wife doesn't watch it, so you're good. You can spread your dirty secrets on this thing. But I think it's good to have separate ones, and I think it's just in general, it's good to remember, you know, what made you attracted to your spouse, right? Like, it was that, hey, I didn't see them every day because, oh, they have a life outside of me. You know, they were enjoying being them. But once you get married, people get lost in the marriage. They're so focused on it's us now. It's not me, it's us. And then as a spouse, like, if me and Claudia were like that, like, she starts to lose all the stuff I was attracted to, right? Like, if she likes to go dancing, or she went out with her friends, or, you know, she likes to go to like whatever she likes to do, because when she came back, she's twice as happy, right? She got to do something, right? But if it's just focused on what Claudia and Vin are doing, you lose that part of her. And the same thing with me. If it just, my whole life was her, then she's losing out what I was bringing to the table, because I'm not bringing it anymore. And I think couples don't have that conversation, or they don't make that effort to be like, hey, I get it. We're a unit, but it's okay to be separate at times. And I think a lot of that comes with the money too. I mean, I was like that in my first marriage. We had separate accounts, always did. I think that was more of a money thing. You know, my ex-wife came from a little bit of the better tracks than I did. So money was something we really didn't talk about. It's kind of taboo. And in my second marriage, I think we were just already at a point where, you know, we just kept everything the same. You know, we have our financial responsibilities that we both handle, but we had those discussions before we just made that decision. I think couples have to have, okay, what's your expectations? What do you want me to be responsible for? And what could I count on you for? Right? Like, it's even like going down to like, hey, how many times are we going to be intimate? Right? Like, because like when you're first dating, it's like, dude, it's all the time. And it's like, hey, is that the expectation, or is it not? Because if you're not having these and if you can't have these conversations with this person, and you expect to spend the rest of your life with this person, like, that's the wrong person. If you can't have a honest conversation, whether it's good, bad, then that's not the person for you. I'm reading this book now, written by like the top divorce attorney like in the world. He's out of Manhattan, and he has this thing where couples should send an email once a week. It says hit send, and that's all that's in the subject line. And that means that, okay, this is about a particular topic, whether good, bad, or indifferent. But you hit send, and then it gives you the opportunity to digest what your partner is saying. And then you guys could, address it at the kitchen table or whatever, which I thought was kind of cool. But I think it's the communication factor.
You just gave me a good idea. I'm not going to share it, but
no. You have to share it, Joe. The people want to know. They don't want to hear me blabbing on about this stuff.
When my wife and I first started talking, she worked at a law firm in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in like southern Connecticut.
Yep.
And so it was like an hour and a half between where we lived, and we hung out a couple of times. And she was like, I don't know, we probably shouldn't keep dating.
Yep.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And she was like, maybe we can hang out. And I was like, okay, whatever. What does it matter what we do, how often we see each other?
Yes.
If you enjoy spending time together, it is what it is. I thought that was it was like super low expectations. It was, I didn't want to get married again. That wasn't really something I was thinking about or planning to do.
And you did?
It just because it does seem like a terrible idea.
It's
a terrible idea.
And the statistics will support it.
I've only ever dated one person and then broke up with that person and dated that person again. And you know what happened the second time? We broke up again.
Well, because the sequel is never as good as the first one, unless it's Top Gun 2. Because
it's
Top Gun
stupid.
2.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a Top Gun 2 in real life. That's the problem.
Well, exactly. Like I always tell people,
you got to set expectations. Nothing's ever going to be that good.
I have seen in my 18 years of doing divorce work, I've seen 2 couples make it back and get remarried.
How many couples have gotten married, divorced, married again, divorced again? I bet you more of them.
I think there's a lot. I haven't seen many of them.
Because that's the stupidest person. If you marry someone and divorce them and you're like, you know what? I want to marry you again. And then it ends in a divorce. It's like, what did you fucking think was going to happen? Really?
True.
Really?
But I will say, I've seen one relationship really like flourish after they got divorced. I've seen one. I have seen one. And I haven't talked to them in forever. It's my ex-sister-in-law. But from what I've seen, they are doing fantastic. But they both did a lot of work before they came back together. And I think that's the key, right? Like, I think it's, if you're willing to work on yourself and you work on yourself and then you come back and be like, okay, I acknowledge what I brought to the table and what I brought to the table to make sure and our marriage didn't work, then maybe it can work again. But I always tell people, if you're at my office, it's a donezo. It's just a matter of time. I maybe have had 4 or 5 people who have come to my office for consultations who were able to make their marriage work. Now, I don't know if they're happy or not, but they're still together. So I don't gauge they're together, so it must be working out. That's not.
Oh, I know lots of staying together for the kids' sake, and I think that's a terrible idea because in reality, you're not really doing that. You're making it worse, and I think you're also teaching your children what a dysfunctional relationship looks like, but it's masked to look like this is normal.
Oh,
mommy and daddy don't sleep in the same room. This is normal.
Well, that was
what are you doing?
Yeah, that was my parents. There was World War VIII all the time in my house, and they did it because that's what you did. And soon as the kids are out, you get a divorce. But I tell people, like, if you're not happy, if the mom's not happy or the dad's not happy with yourself,
get out.
Because you can't make the kids happy, and the kids see it. Like, kids are sponges.
Sure.
Like 1,000.
I think you live basically the experience that you grow up with. Whatever sort of happened to you and your family. Like when, it's funny when somebody hits it big, right? Somebody gets out of the ghetto or somebody hits from like Hicktown, USA. And then you're like, oh, his family is a bunch of meth heads and prostitutes and stuff. And it's like, well, how'd that kid?
Yeah,
he worked.
Yeah,
he worked, and sometimes you get those people that are like, you know what, I got to do better than this. This is not going to do, and they're so determined that they get out of whatever rat hole rut that they're in.
Yeah, and I think too, like parents, like if parents are honest with themselves and they're like, hey, if you are married and the husband and wife rotate weekends with the kids, even though you're married, right? So say this weekend, Joe, it's your weekend with the kids, right? And hey, I only have this one weekend. You're going to be focused 100% on, oh my God, I'm going to spend every moment. I'm going to treasure everything because I know this is my weekend, right?
And I like that idea.
Right. And then meanwhile, your wife's out hanging out with her friends, doing stuff that makes her happy. She comes home and she's like the person you met when you first started dating because she's happy because she's in her lane. She's in her groove. And then you guys flip-flop the next week. Right. Like and that was one of the things that this guy was talking about. And if you think about it that way, you're like, because you get to find yourself, then you're 100% focused on this. When you guys are just doing everything together every time, you're just taking it for granted. And so when I tell people when you get a divorce and they're like, well, and a lot of the times it's more the mothers and the fathers who are upset about not seeing the kids, right? Like whether it's a 3-day gap or a 5-day gap, but I tell them, I'm like, listen, that's it. You finally get to have some you time. Like you put everything aside for everybody else for however long you were married with your kids, but this is your time. And while they're with their father or their mother, you get to focus on you. And when they're with you, you're 100% in. You're refreshed. You got to enjoy life a little bit. Your kids get to see you happy, and the kids, as long as the parents adjust okay, the kids always adjust better, right? Because now the kids are like, man, I got 2 bedrooms. I got 2 Christmases. I got 2 birthdays. It's double the fun. Like, and they get to see their parents happy.
Totally makes up for the heartache of not having your parents together.
I don't think
I'm just kidding. Maybe it does. I don't know.
No,
I've
like,
never. My parents just stayed together and they're still together.
I know.
I think they love each other.
But that's good. But I don't think if you're in a loving house, then yes. But if your parents don't like each other, the kids notice it. Like they're not going to be upset that mom and dad aren't together anymore when you're living in a war zone.
Yeah, I'm exactly like my dad was when I was growing up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a consistent theme with you, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just out here living that perfect life.
Just straight crushing. just straight crushing.
But yeah, so I think but like I see it in my stepson, like I will say and I always go back to it because I find it amazing doing what I do every day and just seeing how parents just blow up shit for no reason. And then I come home and, Jess is talking about dad and his stepmom, Jen, and I know he's doing it at his house. And the fact that he's so comfortable that he could talk to his parents on speakerphone when he's at the other parent's house. Like it's incredible things. And it takes work, but it can't happen, and it makes her life so much better.
How long has Jen been in the picture?
I mean, I think maybe a year or 2 more than me. Maybe I don't know. I never really asked.
I feel like the dad always dates first.
I'm not getting into that one, man. No way you're trapping me into that. No, I'm not playing that game. I mean, I am not.
Claudia said she's private, and I respect that, but you're not.
No, I don't know, but I will say,
you don't want to give us the dirt.
I don't really have. No, I'm not giving dirt. No way.
I thought you wanted to give dirt. That's why you were bringing it up.
No, but I will say, Jen is a fantastic stepmom. She has a great daughter. She's just a good person. I know Jess loves her to death. I almost got mad at Jess last night, so I'm going to get these dogs, right? So I didn't want to pick up the dogs by myself and have to drive back up, worry about peeing, all of this stuff that goes through my head. So I convinced a little rug rat. I was like, I'll pay you $350 to drive down with me and drive back. Cool. We're going to have a guy's trip. It's his stepsister's birthday on Saturday. No qualms, no nothing. I was like, Vin, I can't go. I got my stepsister's, she's family. I got to go to her birthday. And I was like, so mad for a minute, right? Because I'm like, how dare you? But then I'm like, you know what? He made the right choice, right? Like, he was just like, that's my sister, right? Like, I got to be there for her birthday. But that's how tight this family is. It's really like one big unit. But it took a while to get there. It took a long time to get there. And I think kudos to my wife and Jen. They talk quite a bit on the phone, and like that came a long way. And obviously me and Mike, we've come a long way, and it's but it takes work, and like anything in life, whether it's work, it's sports, it's anything, like you got to put in the time and the effort. It just doesn't happen.
You think Jess would drive down for 800?
No.
12?
No. Like I'm telling you, I would.
2,500.
I might punch my mom in her face for $2,500.
Right?
Yeah, like we played this game one time. So when he brings girls over, I like to play like truth or dare, right? And I'm just a jerk. I am. So I think I had asked him. I'm like, listen, like if you had to kill one, would it be your girlfriend or your stepsister? He didn't even blink. He's like, girlfriend gone. I'm like, dude. What if it was me? He hesitated a minute, but I still think he'd kill me, which is kind of fucked up. But like he's that guy. Like he's not driven by money, which kind of blows my mind because that's how I was as a kid. But that he's very much like his mom. They don't just not financially motivated like that. Going back to the gifts thing, he doesn't care. Like he really doesn't. Although he doesn't say no when he gets cool shit too. So. I don't know if he's just playing me for a fool.
Yeah.
I think he is.
A little bit.
He's winning, too.
Yes.
100% goddamn
I think he's killing it, too. I'll tell you what. We've had quite a bunch of people watching this entire episode. I don't know if you saw that. It's a pretty good number there. And I don't know if people are leaving comments because they're not showing up. But I got a new MacBook, a Mac Pro. I'm like a Mac Pro guy now.
I like it. It actually looks good on you.
Yeah.
It does.
I don't know. I don't think I'm using this right. So if you left a comment, my apologies, because we are actually live.
I totally forgot to share it on my page, and
you didn't share it on your page. So Diana probably doesn't even know what's happening.
Oof, dude. What happened there? I hate Facebook. Just some weird shit just popped up.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I don't even know how to share this, Joe. So I don't know. Oh, here we go. We got comments.
Yeah, I knew it.
All right, we got.
What are the comments?
We got all right, here you read them out, man. You're the pro.
All right. I think dogs do talk to each other. They communicate by smelling each other's asses. That's a good comment. This is good stuff. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. Brandon yelled at me a couple weeks ago, but we're cool. You and me, brother. I hate my ex-wife. I can't stand being in the same room as her. That's not me saying that. That's Frank. Both
Frank.
people have to be matured enough and have to put their differences aside for the kids. Frank had Frank, how many times have you been divorced? A few times, right?
You're that guy who's been married.
Yeah, that's who I was talking about. Frank, stop. Frank, just date. Just take them on dates. You don't have to keep marrying everybody.
Is he one of those guys who can't sleep with a person unless you're married? Is that what it is?
Yes.
I had an aunt like that. She would just like get married right away because Jesus would hate her if she had sex, but don't mind the crackhead. You just got married to.
If you marry me, I'll fuck you. Like that doesn't. I don't think God's down with that.
I don't think that was the intention.
No, we got more. We got more viewers now after a couple of shots there.
You know what? I just know. Well, I didn't notice, but I realized today is that I think the commandments 2 out of the 10 have to do with not cheating on your spouse.
Yeah,
like that's kind of aggressive for God.
Don't cheat on your spouse,
and don't covet thy neighbor.
Do you ever watch that show Cheaters?
Yo, best show of all time.
Oh my God! First of all, so many times first of all, it's like at 3:00 in the morning on the WB. they call like Joey Greco.
Yeah.
Right, from Cheaters, and he's got the leather jacket, and he shows up, and this is what the wife says, Vin, right? She'll be like, my husband hasn't been home in 3 weeks. Like, bitch, he left you. What do you mean? Where is he? He left. He's living with another woman. And then you go confront him at the movie theater, right? And the other girl's jerking him off, and you confront him, and then he's like, bitch, I left.
Yeah, like I'm
and you do it on national, like, why?
Yeah, or I get the ones that my husband slept with the nanny. Then you're like, oh. And then you're like, whoa, your nanny's 15 years younger, right? If
you hire a nanny that's hot, you set yourself up for it, and you deserve it.
There's actually like a science for it. I find all this shit fascinating. It's probably why I'm a divorce attorney, right? But so the way the whole nanny finish is wild, because what the psychology of it is, it's almost like the younger version of your wife, right? She has a life outside of the house. She's younger, but your kids like her, right? So like in the guy's head, and I'm not justifying this by any means, but the psychology of it is like, yo, you know what? This is just like it was when I was dating.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like the whole boss complex.
Sure.
So, like, hey, I'm paying you, like all this stuff. But like all this like psychology stuff is kind of weird when you're talking into a divorce. I'm not justifying it, everybody, by the way. No. And same thing goes for Manny's. There's not many, or pool boys. Okay.
Although I feel like if you were my lawyer right now, this is what you'd be saying.
Well, no, 1,000%.
Not that you're making excuses, but if you were, I like to think this is what you would be saying.
That's my job.
Right.
My job is to tell a story.
Yeah.
I am a storyteller. I told my client I have a crazy criminal case today, and I'm like, this is how it spins. My story is this. The state attorney's story is this. My job is to tell whatever story you want me to tell. Like, I am not here to tell the truth. I am here to spin a story that's in your favor. And that's why they hire me. Unless you use your kids as pawns, and then you can go fuck yourself.
That's why he makes the big bucks.
Louise.
Yeah, Louise.
That's twice. That's twice. But
we talked about this earlier.
Other than using your kids as pawns, you need a story to be told. Yeah, I am Dr. Seuss, Aesop. I'm all of them, dude. I'm Mark Twain with the stories, dude.
When you need some legal spin,
you call me.
Call Vin.
I'm Quentin Tarantino of the divorce game.
I like that.
That's me. That's it.
All right.
Anything else we got? We got any more comments? Or are we logging off?
I think we're gonna log off. I think we've done well here. This is with the new Mac. Got no crew. I just got it going on.
Yep.
I think it's a little shadowy, but I needed one more piece that I think my daughter took, and also I need 2 AAA batteries for my wireless, and then it would have all been off, and it would have been so smooth.
It is, and then maybe I'll have my wife on next week. We'll see what happens. I think we should start bringing some guests on, though. You know, I think that'd be good for our viewers. We'll get some more comments. See if Frank likes us having guests.
Frank's gonna want to come on.
He should come on. He should. We could have a.
Don't say that, because he'll just pop on. Frank does that.
Frank spent a lot of money on his goddamn divorce. Frank, shame on you. It's not your fault, buddy. Next time you get divorced, call this guy. Get it done for cheap.
Telling you. ChangeYourPlansCT.com if you want this guy to help you get your life in order.
I'm gonna.
He
try.
does that too.
I do that too. I also do the divorce stuff, but I also try to do the coaching stuff, and I do the coaching stuff through the divorce shit. I think it's what I'm here for, to help people out.
You can find us on the gram.
Yep.
The TikTok,
YouTube,
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
That too.
And
I'm not contractually able to say that.
Oh, so Joe's not on it, but I am, because I don't have any contracts.
That one, every couple of minutes, it just gets muted.
Oof, good. Sorry,
weird episodes. All right, like I said, ChangeYourPlansCT.com. You can also, again, hit us up on social media. And by the way, I love all the clips. Strong social media game here.
We're trying
on Change Your Plans. So if you haven't indulged, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I really don't.
Oh, PS2, I do have some dogs that are going to be up for adoption. So check out Positive Paradise Rescue Division on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook. All the dogs will be up there. And it's a really good cause. So, and I'm picking up a bunch this weekend. So if your family's looking for a first, second, or third dog, you let me know. And we'll take good care of you.
That's beautiful.
I try.
We're changing lives for humans and dogs.
Doing it all here at Change of Plans.
Don't forget. Don't be a dick. Have a good one.